Live from the podcast studio, this is from Long Distance Marriage with Rich and Andrea. We're a once long-distance couple who closed 5,000 miles of distance and are now happily married.
We talk long-distance, marriage and relationships.
Hi guys, welcome to episode 44 from Long Distance to Marriage. Before we dive in, we have a couple admin-y things, I think, to get out of the way. Firstly, sorry for the lack of episode last week. We had a lot of family stuff for my birthday, and it was something we just couldn't manage to get to. But I had a very nice birthday, so it was worth it. Secondly, we do have the content that we've been talking about out with beta readers, and we've got some really exciting feedback so far. So we're looking forward to getting that all finalized and available to people.
People can sign up to be notified when it goes live.
Oh, how do they do that?
I'll put the link in our bio.
Was it on our website?
It's on our website, but you have to have a link to get to it. It's a secret page.
Ooh.
So, you can visit that page, put your email address in, and then once it's out, you'll be amongst the first to know, and then you can get it. But we don't currently know when it will be out.
No.
In the near future, it won't be too long, but we haven't got a date yet.
Within the next month, 6 weeks, probably, hopefully.
But yeah, feedback's been really good. So hopefully it'll be useful content. If we'll put the link in our bio on Instagram, we'll put it on Twitter. If you can't find it, send us a message, send us an email. We'll send you the link directly.
Cool.
Any other admin?
I think that's it for now. Yeah.
Oh, we are soon going to have relationship counsellor as a guest on the show. So I think that's going to be a really interesting one. But if there's anything anyone in particular wants us to ask or talk about, let us know.
You did a story on that, didn't you?
I did, yes. We did have response to that. But
we'll try and drum up a few more.
You know, if there's anything in particular. I mean, I think this could still work for long distance, but I think obviously it probably lends itself slightly more to non-distance.
Or marriage.
Yeah. But either way, you know, if there's anything you want to know, anything behavioural, or if you're wondering just how they're treating you, or if there's been a difference in how they're behaving.
Communication stuff.
What fundamentals you need to have to sort of build a solid relationship. You know, anything like that. If there's anything... I think these people tend to be quite expensive to sit down with counsellors, so see this as a bit of a free opportunity to not necessarily get tailored responses to your situation, but you know, we can sort of talk about the
themes,
generics and themes and stuff like that. So yeah, hit us up if there's anything you want to talk about.
Yeah, so this week's episode is based off of requests. Someone put a comment on our Instagram requesting it. Darling, would you like to read it out?
Yeah, so they want to know how to share time with your significant other when they visit home. So the situation is, this couple were together in the same hometown, and then the partner moved away, leaving the other person still in the hometown. So the struggle is when he comes back to the hometown, all his friends want to get involved and take his time. So...
She said also that, like, with family stuff, that's fine, because she's usually involved. Like, when he's spending time with his family, she's there. And I think there's just a bit of struggle for balance, and maybe, like... I don't think they use the word jealousy.
No. But I think what I'm a little bit confused about is why there's no involvement with the friends. I mean, maybe from this, maybe she's included with his friends but all the time, and that's fair enough. You know, fully on board with guys needing guy time and women needing women time.
Yeah, she said literally, I live in his hometown and I struggle with sharing his time with his friends, not so much with family because I'm included in that. So
it insinuates that she's
not included with friend stuff. Yeah. So I think this obviously is much more sensitive and maybe a bit more critical when you're long distance, because that time is so valuable. So this isn't a situation that we had to deal with, obviously, because we lived in completely different places. So it wasn't like when he came to visit me, my attention was on you. When I came to visit you, your attention was on me. But I think still in relationships, you know, as married couples, you have to balance your time between your friends, your family, and your partner. So it is something that I think we can relate to and
Yeah.
come back, kind of.
That's probably why they asked us to talk about it.
Oh, Jesus, I'm just doing a little bit of a, like, just so you know, this wasn't our situation.
But I mean, I think that, this potentially plays into just general relationship / friendship situation, because there are couples where they keep the two completely separate.
Yeah, I think my first suggestion, without knowing much about, the situation, the types of friends these people are, is to try and do couple dates where possible. If his friends have girlfriends, wives, whatever, try and make at least some of the friend interaction based around, the group setting. But then again, I know guys do like to have their boy time, just like you said, girls like to have their girl time. So I think just first step is to have the conversation of, is there some part of this that I can be involved in?
Well, it's interesting because, so she's in the hometown, and the question is how to share time with your significant other when they visit home. So to me, the obvious answer here is to work it out.
Well, yeah, but they don't know how.
No, I mean, we're like, it depends how long he's home. If he's home for one night and he's prioritising friends over his girlfriend,
yeah,
that's not necessarily great. If he's home for a longer period of time, I mean, work it out in the sense of, okay, I'm here for 10 days, I'm going to spend X amount of days doing this with my friends, I'm going to spend X amount of days with you. Maybe there'll be some of that time where it overlaps and everyone's involved. And if she's included in time with the family, that's good.
Yeah.
So they're spending time together in some capacity.
I think there just needs to be a conversation around, I do think that people should be able to have some alone time with their friends, for sure. But I think maybe just there needs to be a conversation around it about what what he needs in terms of time alone with his friends and what he can compromise, and the same for what she needs from him in terms of one-on-one time and what she can compromise on. That might mean that, okay, so tonight you're with your friends, we'll all get dinner together, and then I'll leave, and you guys go off and get some drinks, and then meet me at home later. Or you go out with your friends this night, and then this night they'll all come over to our house or my parents' house or whatever and have a barbecue.
Yeah, if you can try and blend it like that, that's a really good idea.
I think it's hard because what can feel really unromantic and blah about a long-distance relationship is that you often feel like your life is scheduled to a T. And sometimes even more so when you're visiting. And I can imagine that when you live in this situation where you're in the same hometown, there's lots of people you need to try and see and people to fit in, that, that's how it feels. And to be honest, when we go back to America to visit my friends and family, that is how it is. Like, we are like, okay, today we're going here, we're spending time with this person and these friends, and then tomorrow we're doing this and we're seeing these people. You're so focused on trying to fit everyone in that something does have to give. So I think finding a situation where you're both compromising, I mean, you're giving up a bit of that one-on-one time, but you're also saying, but I do need this much time with you, just me and you, or whatever. So yeah, you just need to talk about it and find out what your boundaries and your limits and your requirements are and work around that and try and be involved. I mean, it sounds like the family stuff is fine. So just maybe try and approach that in a similar way. Now, what if she doesn't like his friends? Or what if, just in a case, a person doesn't like their friends? Not that this person said that. Yeah,
I was thinking that. But again, I mean, you don't necessarily need to spend... If you don't like each other, then you haven't got to spend that time together. Or you suck it up and say, this is what needs to happen. It's only for an hour, a few hours, whatever. But if time does permit it, you don't have to spend... You don't have to be together as a group necessarily. You can say, this is our time and this is your time.
Yeah. And I think it's important to remember that friendships are a lot easier to maintain long distance than a romantic relationship. Friendships, you don't really need so much physical, contact. I mean, I know some friends are really into cuddling or very affectionate towards each other, regardless of the sex or gender. That's fine. But, for instance, my best friend and I have been best friends for 31 years now, and 21 years of that has been long-distance friendship, and we're still close as anything. I don't think you could be long-distance in a relationship of romantic nature for 21 years and things be okay. Do you see what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I think with that in mind, the person coming back into town, so the person who's moved away, coming back to their family, their girlfriend, boyfriend, and their friends, needs to bear in mind that, okay, I need to spend time with my family and my friends and my significant other, but there is kind of a weight in terms of who should get that time. And I think that maybe, I mean, this is just me coming up with this on the fly, but maybe something like a 2/3 rule. When it comes to family, I think it's just as important as your significant other. But in terms of significant other versus friends, if you think 2/3 of this time should be with my partner and 1/3 of it should be with my friends, if you can't spend any of that time together, like if your significant other and your friends don't get along. So I think you just need to think, like, I can maintain this friendship really easily from far away, but I need to give that focus a bit more to my actual relationship when I'm in town.
Yeah, and I'm also just like
you
the
just
more
keep staring at this message, you're getting concerned.
The more I read the message, the more sort of different scenarios kind of come up, and it's just, I may be completely wrong here, but I'm wondering, is he making much effort to balance this time? Because the message is, I struggle with sharing his time with his friends. So there's kind of two things that jump out to me from this. One is, he's not necessarily doing anything wrong, but the person who's requested this just struggles. You know, maybe
insecurity or jealousy.
One of the things we put in this upcoming piece of content that we're talking about is the sort of how a lot of people feel you just want all of your partner's time. And in long distance, when you see each other, you want just all their time. So it's a struggle. They're not necessarily doing anything wrong, and
just that you can't get enough of each other.
Yeah,
really.
and we're very much on the side of the fence that says you need your own time, and your partner needs to be respectful of that, and then you have time together, but it's also important to still have your own hobbies, your own interests. And in this case, you know, he's coming back to where he grew up, so his friends are there. Yeah, he's got every right to that time. Mm-hmm. But it's also possible from reading this that maybe he's being a bit of a dick, and
it's quite a vague message.
But he's not. Yeah, potentially he's not making any effort.
Or potentially maybe she's really, really insecure. Sorry.
Well, that's what I was just saying. It's possible that he's doing everything right, and he wants to his friends. He's got all that right to do that. But maybe she's a little bit insecure, and she just wants more time than he's able to give. But it is also possible that he's not making the effort to manage this time. He's not really sensitive to her needs. He's just saying, I want to go and hang out with the guys, I want to have a few drinks, whatever. Maybe, like you said, because it's easier to maintain a friendship long distance than a relationship, potentially since he's been away, he feels like, well, we talk all the time, and I don't talk to my friends.
I'm worried.
Why?
What if the person who requests this, says, oh, listen to this, and you're like, maybe he's being a dick. I don't want to upset anyone.
You might say, no, I'm not being a dick.
But also, we're not saying this necessarily specific to this scenario. This is all the different scenarios that people in a similar situation.
We're reading into it.
So to this person...
interrupted me.
I know, but I just wanted to not piss anyone off.
Well, fuck him. But, he may be coming into this with the view of saying, we talk all the time, I've not spoken to these guys in months, so I want to see them and prioritise over it. So there's all these sort of different potentials. Like you said, it's a vague message. If he's listening to this, I'm sure he's not going to think, you've got all the information and you take aside.
It's very vague.
Ultimately, what it comes down to, like we always say, is communicate. And, you're going to have to sit down together and have that conversation. And both of you are going to have to sort of not justify, but you're going to have your reasons for why you currently behave or feel the way you do. So in his case, he's going to have to say, I hear you, this is the reason why I'm managing my time like this. And then you're going to either hear that and say, well, actually that makes a lot of sense and maybe I need to be a bit more on board with that, or actually that's not really good enough and we need to figure something else out. And then you're going to have to justify to him, or not justify, but you're going to have to explain to him why you feel the way you do, and maybe you feel a little bit left out. But you need to have that conversation.
Yeah,
you need to have that communication.
Is huge.
And that's going to be true for all of these sort of. I imagine a lot of people are in this situation.
Yeah.
And I suppose maybe it's. Yeah, when we talk about long distance, I think what's fairly unusual about this one is it started off in the same place. So she's in that hometown, potentially sees his friends, from the sounds of it, sees his family. He's coming back and it's like a homecoming. Now, a lot of the time in long distance, you stay in your own hometown and the person leaves their hometown to come visit you. Or, you leave yours to visit them.
Like our situation was.
But the point is, you've got two separate hometowns. When you come and visit, you're not thinking, oh, how do I split my time? Because one of you's got no friends and family there, and the other one, you're with them all the time, so you haven't got to feel like you're trying to balance it. Whereas this one, he's coming back, and he very much has to try and figure out how to please everybody, and he's got friends, family, and a partner.
Yeah.
There's a lot to juggle there. So I think point one is, person who requested this, be honest with yourself and sit down and think, before I have the conversation with him, am I being fair? Am I being unreasonable? Am I expecting too much of him, considering he's got to balance me, his family, and his friends? Once you've got that question out of the way, it's, does he involve me at all with his friends like he does with his family, or is it sacred guy time? If you're included, that's good. If you're not, how much guy time is it? Is it every day, all day? Is he going away with them? Or, is it he sees them a little bit and he just doesn't really think you'd enjoy the time? There's all sorts of reasons for all sorts of different possibilities. But you need to be honest with yourself and ask these questions before the conversation with him. And then you need to, and not as a confrontational thing, go out for dinner and just say, look, this is how I feel.
Yeah.
What's the reason why I'm not included or more included? Or maybe he feels obligated to his friends because, maybe he's known that if it's his hometown, he's possibly known these people his whole life.
Yeah.
And maybe he's under pressure from them to see him. Maybe he feels obligated to do it. So be sensitive to how, where he's coming from as well. Because it's very easy for us to be very egocentric about it and say, me, why aren't you giving me my attention, without thinking about the burden on him to please everybody.
And speaking as a person who has left their hometown, moved away, obviously when we go home to visit my family, I don't have to worry about fitting you in because I'm with you all the time. It's not like I'm there, but I do feel pressure from, and a lot of this is internal pressure because I put a lot on my shoulders and want to please everyone every second of every day. But I do put pressure on myself and feel pressure to make the most of that time with everyone. And, for my best friend, sometimes I might be there for 2 weeks and we only get to spend a whole day and then maybe a dinner. We'll do a whole day, a girls' day, get our nails done, go shopping, go to lunch. And then another evening, we'll bring the husbands for dinner. So, and then there's all this family stuff to fit in. So it can feel really, really hard. I don't have the added difficulty of trying to juggle my relationship on that, although I do try and make sure that we do things that you're going to enjoy, so I can understand. So to this person who hasn't left their hometown, kind of reiterating what Rich was saying a few minutes ago, there is pressure to feel like you're making everyone happy. And also, I think I've mentioned this in previous podcasts, that when I go home and see my family, I look at it as like going to the gas station to fill up on all those people I love that I don't get to see, to get me through until I'm back again. So they need to be allowed to fill up on everyone that they need, including their friends, including you, including their family. But you need to have that conversation and to where it's done in a way that you're both getting what you need. So that might be, like we kind of said, maybe split up the evening. If he wants to have an out with his friends, you guys have dinner, then he goes out and has drinks. Or if he's going to spend the whole evening and night with his friends, then you have a breakfast date the next morning. I think understanding what time you have and scheduling it out, like I said, even though that's not very romantic or spontaneous or exciting, at least you know when you get to see him next, when you're going to get that one-on-one time, and you can say, actually, do you know what? I don't need that much, or actually, no, do you know, I need more time than that. And you can map it out a bit.
Yeah. So if the struggle is just spending time and figuring out his time, like an itinerary, then that's just a case of sitting down and talking and figuring it out. If it's that you're feeling excluded and you're justified in that way, like he's actually excluding you, maybe that's more of a red flag.
Yeah, I remember being in school and I can't remember the situation. So this girl I knew, she was a couple years older than me. They were just finishing high school. Her boyfriend went into the Navy or the Coast Guard or something, and he'd come home, have maybe like 5 or 10 days leave, or even fewer, and he'd come home, they'd have a bunch of sex, and then he'd go see his friends. And she felt like, okay, well...
What, she felt used?
Kind of, like, okay, so this is great.
When you say a bunch of sex,
I mean, I don't remember. This was like 15, 20 years ago.
No.
But yeah, it was like, you know, they'd have sex, they'd kind of get their jollies and their fill of each other physically. Then they'd be like, right, I'm going to see the guys. And she felt really, not used, but just like, well, hold on, when are we going to do something nice together? Like, yeah, it's great, I've missed you, I want to have sex with you and stuff, but what about, you know, maybe I want to come, maybe we can do stuff with some of my friends, you know, like...
She wants to come, or she wants to, like, go with them?
She wants to go along with them.
Well, he's about sex.
Well, I assume that happened.
Maybe he unfulfilled her.
Maybe, I don't know. But I'm just saying, I can understand how, depending on what the guy's like, how easily you can feel left out.
Yeah.
And you know, guys... I think guys are a little bit tougher with this kind of stuff than girls, for the most part. Some men are extremely sensitive, which is great. But... I don't know, I just don't think guys stew on a lot of the stuff that women do in the same way of what being apart means, and I don't think that guys think, okay, if I spend this much time with my friends and this much time with her, she's going to get this message, whereas we sit there and read into it a lot. You know, it's just different, so you just need to talk about it, and you might find that he feels like, oh, so what, you're scheduling my time for me now? You know, it just needs to not come across that way. Like, hey, I just want to know what you've got planned. Can we pencil in some stuff? Like, I just want to make sure that, you know, I get my fill of you. I've missed you. You just got to be open and cool about it.
Mm-hmm.
But also voice what you need. And also, if it's an issue, maybe try and go see, maybe they do, but maybe try and go see him more. Because then,
well, you don't know why he's away. I mean...
No, you could be in the military or something, yeah. But if it's possible...
yeah, sure.
It's better to go there, because then, you know, they haven't got as much of a life built up in the new place they are. They probably have a job and a few friends or whatever the situation is, uni. But it might be easier for them to focus completely on you if you go there. If it's possible.
Yeah, you know, and it could be that one or the other of the people here needs to become a bit more mature.
Could be.
So, you know, like I said, it could be that the person who's asked this, it needs to sort of be more mature in the sense of...
Might be a bit needy? Or...
Might be a bit needy. Maybe he's doing all he can, and maybe actually it's sufficient, but there's just a feeling of, I want more.
And
but maybe he's being more neglectful, and everyone else is getting priority, and because the message said, I'm included in family time. Maybe he said, I'll see you when I see my parents, and we'll just have dinner together. And you know, I don't really think that's good enough. Mm-hmm. So, if that is the situation, then he would need to be more mature in saying, I need to prioritise you. You need your own slot of time, if you don't need to be all romantic about it. You know, so again, where we haven't got all the information is possible one or the other, and hopefully no one will get offended at what I just said. But
no, but
it's about being honest and holding yourself accountable for this situation. So if it is you that's not doing enough, or it's you that's demanding too much, you need to hold yourself accountable and say, do you know, I need to work on that. Actually, I'm not being fair. But if it is the other person, then you need to sit down and communicate and be mindful of potential red flags. Because if you're long distance, if he's moved away and then he comes home and it's like, hey babe, I'm off out, and you're not getting anything, how valued are you going to feel?
Yeah, and I think based on that, both of these things are really easy to get stuck in, whatever mindset. You know, like Rich said, hopefully we don't piss anyone off, but we're working with, like, not tons of detail. But also, if you are being needy in a situation like this, that's really easy to do. It's fucking hard to be long distance, and you miss people, and it's painful. And you do just genuinely think, well, I want you. I miss you more than anyone. And yeah, that's totally understandable, but you have to kind of put the lid on that and reason with yourself about it. And then if you are the one that's being a bit like, oh, well, you know, I'll see her or I'll see him when I have dinner with my family. I want to see my friends. Like, it's hard. I can't juggle it all. That's also totally true. And you're completely, I wouldn't say justified, but it's completely understandable that you feel that way. But you need to figure it out. Like, you're a commodity. When you've moved away from home and you come back to visit, you are a hot commodity, and everybody wants a bit of you. Like,
I think it also, how long you come back for is going to play a part in this. If you come back for a day and you come back every month, I think, you know, maybe the fair thing to do then is alternate. So you, instead of saying, right, I come back one day, one weekend every month, I'm going to see everyone. Maybe say, guys, you know, we hung out last time. This time it's family time. It's girlfriend time.
See, I kind of disagree with that.
Well, every time you need to see your family and you need to see your girlfriend every time, but you don't necessarily need to see your friends every time if you come back that regularly. With that. So it may be that this time is all about you and us, and we'll whatever. Next time I need to factor in some time to see my friends.
Mm-hmm.
But if he's coming back like you, where it's like once a year for 2 weeks, friends shouldn't be getting the bulk of that time.
No, but they should get some.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Or try and fit it in.
But this is an important point I think needs elaborating on, because friends are still really important, and I believe in loyalty to friends. If these are people you've known your whole life or years of your life, and friends should be there for each other. I'm not in any way suggesting people should discard them when you get a girlfriend or a boyfriend, but I think the conversation is there needs to be that balance of time and who gets what. So
we said, like, friends, you can maintain that a bit easier.
Yeah, but I want to make it clear we're not giving the impression of your friends are no longer important, and
absolutely
you don't need to see them. Like, you do need to see them. You do need to keep in touch with them. You need to hang out. Like I said, I am a firm advocate of saying you can spend time with your guy friends and you can spend time with your girlfriend without your partner being there. I think it's important to have that sort of gender segregated time if that's what you want. So if the conversation here is I want to be involved with his friend time, I'm not going to be totally on board with that. There are times, when you get included, but there are times when you be excluded, and that's okay. So again, it depends on the situation, but you need to maintain that quality of friendship. But if you're coming back regularly, and you can say, do you know what, guys, we're still actually hanging out every month, but in those intervening weeks, I just need to spend more time with my family. I think that's fair all round, and I think good friends will be understanding of that. But if they're seeing you once a year, once every 2 years, and you're home for 2 weeks, you shouldn't cut them out that time. You shouldn't say, "Oh, I'll see you in the next 2 years." That's a long time.
And I think combine it where you can, because, like, depending on your friendships, if these are people you've been friends with for a long time, they probably know your family. So, like, if we have a family occasion, like if we happen to be home and there's a birthday, or like my family goes out for dinner, I'll invite my friend. She grew up across the street from my family. Like, she's another kid, kind of one of my parents' extra kids. So I think try and kill 2 birds with 1 stone where possible.
Well, on that point, how old are these friends? Have they got partners too?
Well, yeah, we mentioned that in the beginning. Yeah, like if you can double date.
Double date, or just go out as a group with the wives, with the girlfriends, with the boyfriends.
Have a big barbecue for everyone.
Yeah, so, I think you're still able to say, actually, this time we're going to go paintballing, or we're just going to go to the pub and hang out as friends, but it doesn't have to be every time.
The really nice thing about doing something like that, if you can get people together as a group, barbecue, go out for an activity, bowling, whatever, is that it does feel kind of normal, which is really nice when you're long distance, because that's the kind of things you do when you're not long distance and you have couples that you're friends with. You go out to dinner with them, you go out and do activities with them, you have house parties, barbecues, dinner parties, whatever. So doing stuff like that when you are long distance and someone's come back home to visit can feel like, for a minute, you're just a normal couple, which is a really nice feeling. So I think combining as much as you can is really good. But I do think that out of the 3, friends, family, and partners, the one that's a little bit more important to delegate one-on-one time to is the partners. Friends and family you can mix together. Family and your partner you can mix together, but you do need one-on-one time.
You're cultivating something new, whereas friends and family you're maintaining.
Yeah. Even if you're maintaining your relationship.
No, because you're always building a relationship.
You are always building a relationship, but there's a reason that you naturally start spending a little bit less time with your friends. There's a reason you move out of your parents' house and move in with this person that you build a life with, because it takes the most work, therefore it requires the most time.
So to bring this back to be specific about this question, how to balance this time, I think the person who asked this question, I don't think it's unreasonable to sit down on your own and think, how long is he here for? That's obviously the most important point. How long is he here for? What do I want to do with him? What is he likely to want to do while he's here? and then you try and work up. Yeah, it's not going to sound sexy romantic, but you try and figure out some kind of calendar itinerary. You haven't necessarily got to share it with him, but you can kind of put your own expectations down on paper and say, okay, it's 2 weeks. I think it's fair that this time we're doing these activities, and here he's with these people, and here he's with these people, and here we're all together. And you can kind of figure out in your head what you think is fair and reasonable and sort of satisfied everyone. And then you can either show that to him or just have that conversation with him and say, you know what, I'm really struggling with how things get distributed, your time gets distributed. So could you, before you come back this time, rather than everything being decided ad hoc, spur of the moment, I'll do this today and spontaneous,
planning,
could you plan what you think is a reasonable way of doing this that includes me, that includes your family, that includes your friends? I've kind of done the same, and then we'll see if we can line it up. And then that's because I think in this situation where you're going back to your hometown, whoever this is, in whatever situation, if you're going back to your hometown, like you said, everyone's going to want a part of you, and you need to guard your time. You need to protect that. So and I think you need to be in control of it. Because if you're not in control of your time, you're at the whim of everyone else when they want to see you. Oh yeah, I'll drop this, I'll come and see you. But you're also kind of at the whim of them maybe being late or saying, oh, we're together now, let's just go and do this as well. And it's easy to stay out longer than you'd planned to. Whereas if you kind of go into it and say, okay, guys, I need to meet you guys at 11 sharp, and I need to be done by 3. That's very different to, yeah, we'll hang out on Tuesday, text me when you're all ready, suddenly it's midday, 1 o'clock, and then we're out, oh, you know what, let's just go and see that movie, or oh, let's just go to that game.
Yeah.
Suddenly that's an extra 2 hours, then it's, well, we might as well go grab dinner, it's late enough. And very quickly the day's disappeared. So I think if you go into it where it's kind of planned out, and yeah, it can be flexible, don't say I need to be home bang on 2, but you can say I need to be done around about 2.
The thing is, you're going to have to be flexible because, and I think as great as that sounds, it may not always be realistic depending on the situation, because like, well, when I go home, my friends are all working. So when I've got the day to kind of do whatever I want, but then everyone finishes work in the... I'm just saying
you can always find excuses for things.
All I'm saying is you're going to have to take other people's schedules into account as well.
Of course you are. That's the whole point of this, is you say who can do what and when, and what can we move around. You almost build it as modules and say this is my module of time with you and this is my module of time with them. But the point I'm making is, rather than just saying we'll play it by ear,
yeah, you can't do
and
that.
we'll do all this on the day, you will lose control of that day. It will disappear, and you're completely the whim of everyone else. And it's not as important to them because they live there. They can see their partner later on. They'll see them tomorrow. But in this situation for you and the partner, and you need to be much more protective of the time, and people need to respect that. So if you say to them, "I need to meet you at this time. I need to roughly be done by this time," obviously work it around their jobs. You're not suggesting they take a day off. That may mean they're only available in the evening. So then you say, guys, I need to meet you at 7. I need to be home by 10 or 11. Babe, that gives us all day. Whatever. You work it around their time. But the point is, if you go into it with this plan, that is more like to satisfy everyone, I think, because everyone feels that they're getting their time, and the time you have as the person visiting, going home, is safeguarded.
Yeah, it can feel a bit like a military operation, and it can feel like
but you
that's
don't have
the bed
any
you made.
doubt. You have to lay in it.
Well, maybe they didn't make it. You don't know what the situation is.
But they're in that situation,
yeah,
so you have to just make the best of it.
Yeah, and I know that if I don't... I mean, this is what it's like when we go back. Everything is planned out. Like, before we even go, I know what days I'm seeing who and what times. And obviously some things are played by ear, but we have a good...
Yeah, sometimes we've got a free day then that we're going to spend with so-and-so.
Yeah.
So what we do is up to us, but we still know that's the day it's happening.
We know that things are slotted in, and also we're usually home for some sort of holiday, so that, things are slotted all around that. Things are planned around the holiday. But I know personally that if I go home and I'm just like, well, we'll figure it out, I don't get the time in with the people that I care about, and I don't feel good when I go back because I feel like time was wasted, or
someone's always missed.
Someone's been left out. Did I hurt someone? I have to see these people enough to make me feel good. Like I said, it's my going to the gas station, filling up on the people I love, but also I want to feel good, and that they feel good about the time they got, and that it was quality and stuff. So, it wouldn't work if we didn't treat it almost like a military operation. And the nice thing about it is that people do work during the day. So, like, when we're there, I can't see my friend or her husband or whatever during the day. My sister and my brother-in-law are working, that my niece and nephew are at school. So it's usually just, like, us and my parents. And we can, oh, well, you wanted to go check that out, babe. Like, you haven't been there yet. Let's take you there and do that. Or, we can do the little vacation-y things, and then the afternoons and evenings are all like, right, we're seeing this person, we're doing this, we're doing that.
Yeah, but I think it needs to be known in advance, at least roughly.
Yeah.
At least I'll see you about this time till about that time, building a buffer block of an hour before you meet the next group of people. But that's the only way it's going to happen. I think that probably wraps it up. I think this, once this episode goes out and it's listened to, it might be fun to have an Instagram live follow-up to this with the people involved. That could be quite fun.
Don't know, they'll probably hate us.
They won't hate us, they'll love us.
We called him a dick and we called her needy.
No, I said he could be being a dick and she may be being, we don't know. We also said both of them may be being completely reasonable and mature, so we don't know.
Yeah.
We can follow this up on Instagram. There's been some confusion over our handle with people thinking it's Mr. and Mrs. Distance.
Oh.
It's not. So if you want to come and talk to us on there or Twitter, it's Mr. Mrs. Distance. No and, no underscores.
I probably said it wrong at some point or something.
Maybe. So it's just Mr. Mrs.
That's what people have been trying to find us and they can't.
Well, potentially, yeah. I just know that some people have, when they've said they were looking for Mr. and Mrs.
Oh, okay.
Which kind of makes sense. I just think maybe it wasn't long. I don't know. But if you've been looking for us on either Instagram or Twitter, we also do put direct links to it on in our emails and on our website. So the website's longdistancemarriage.com. You can sign up for our email list on there. If you want to be on the wait list to be told when our piece of content, which is basically about having the best long distance relationships you can, then either visit the website, send us an email and ask to be on there, or if you do know our social media, ping us a message on there. We'll give you the direct link and you can sign up.
There's also that thingy that we made.
The cheat sheet?
To the episodes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so is that if you sign up for the newsletter?
No, if you want it, I don't know. I know if you go onto the website, there'll be a pop-up that says about sort of building a rock-solid relationship.
Yeah.
If you put your email address in there, you'll get the email. And what that is if you're new to the podcast, we've basically, because we're 44 episodes into this now, it's quite hard to... Yeah, I always struggle when you get a new podcast and you have to try and go back through the back catalogue and not all of the episodes are relevant to you. So what we've done is just a really short guide, basically, to what we think are the most relevant episodes for if you're in a long-distance relationship, if you're in a non-distance relationship, so if you're married and you live together, if you live together, if you're just close proximity, and if you're long-distance. We know that those relationships often have different requirements, so we've split that out. So if you're in a long-distance relationship, these are the episodes most likely relevant to you, and if there is no distance, these are the episodes most likely relevant to you.
Yeah, because we cover both.
We cover both.
Yeah.
So if you want to get your hands on that, visit the website. There'll be a little pop-up that appears that says about building a rock-solid relationship. I think there's a picture of people holding hands. Put your email address in there.
We know our stuff so well.
It'll get sent to you immediately. And then, yeah, so just to recap on that, I think we kind of rambled. Visit the website, longdistancemarriage.com. Send us an email through the contact page and say you want to be on the wait list for our new guide, which is a really comprehensive, long piece of content about building fantastic long-distance relationships and how you can make it work. We also cover, once you've closed the distance...
And how to close the distance.
And how to... We don't want to give too much away, but basically there's a lot of information.
Basically the ultimate guide to long-distance relationships.
Yeah, we're really pleased with this. The feedback's been really positive. We've done it to be worthwhile to everyone who finds this podcast interesting if you're long-distance. So you can send us an email through the website to be on that, or you can message us on our social media, Twitter or Instagram, and our handle is Mr. Mrs. Distance.
Not Mr. and Mrs. Distance.
Yes. And then to the people who wanted to hear this particular episode, hopefully it's been helpful. and it's been a bit difficult because I haven't got all the information, but we're happy to follow this up, maybe do an Instagram live, and other people can chip in and you can get a sort of a range of views. I think that could be quite fun.
But I think it's kind of good that we didn't have all the details, because I'm sure there's people who also struggle with this that, are in, a different combination of the situation, if that makes sense. Like, no two people situations. It might be that one of them's being needy. It might be that one of them's being over demanding. It might be that everything's fine. They just want to make sure they're balancing it the best they can. And I think because we didn't have all the details, we kind of covered all those bases. So sometimes less is more.
Indeed. So until next week.
Let us know if you have any other topics you want us to cover. That's pretty much it. We're going to go get some burgers now for lunch. Bye!